So there's been a video that's been recently released that really calls into question the sexual assault allegations against Trevor Bauer. Let's get into the details. My name is Jamahl Kersey. I'm the principal attorney at Kersey Law, a boutique criminal defense firm in San Diego, California. And in this video, we're talking about the video that just came out that basically raises doubt against the sexual assault allegations that are against the LA Dodgers pitcher, Trevor Bauer. And so let's just start with this. I mean, sexual assault is a horrible crime. I mean, it is a horrible stain to have on someone's record. I mean, really the only thing probably worse than sexual assault, just from a societal standpoint, would probably be something like a child molestation, right? You almost would rather be accused of murdering somebody than, sexual assault, rape type charges. They're just the type of offense that realistically can ruin a person's life and reputation forever. So these are not, these aren't cases to play around with. These aren't allegations to just play around with. This story here actually dates back to May of last year. So May of 2021, there was a complaint by Lindsey Hill. And there actually were two other ladies who made complaints, but those cases seem to have gone away at this point. We're really focusing on Lindsey Hill. And she had actually claimed that Trevor Bauer had battered and bruised her during a sexual encounter. And so she ended up filing a request for a restraining order in June of 2021. When you apply for a domestic violence restraining order, usually there's a declaration where you basically lay out all the facts in terms of the actual abuse that has occurred, so actual incidents or the threat of violence or the threat of abuse. You set forth the facts, and then you're also talking about the actual relationship, because if it's a domestic violence restraining order, then there's going to be some sort of relationship, whether that's a spousal relationship, so husband and wife, or girlfriend and boyfriend, or like a roommate situation, right? So she had put together one of these applications and said that basically he punched her in the face during sex, leaving her with a split lip and also leaving her face with, fingernail scratches. So that basically covered her entire cheek and chin. Interestingly enough, these things kind of come up pretty often when you're talking about sexual assault. And there can be what you might consider blurred lines between what would be, acceptable, consensual, rough sex, right? So whether that's, choking, hair pulling, spanking, all these type of things, just depending on how you get down in the bedroom, to that, blurring the lines to being something that's actually criminal. So some sort of sexual assault. But, these allegations, if true and if believed, right? So saying that, hey, during sex, this guy, punched me in the face, right? So that's really out there, right? So that's definitely going beyond spanking or even, flogging, whatever you do. But, punching a woman in the face during sex is definitely another level. And then scratching a person in their face to the extent that you leave, scars on their face, their cheek and chin, you might be moving more into the sexual assault arena. And so these are absolutely, again, if these allegations are believed, that could be something that somebody would go to jail for sexual assault for. And so this case was actually investigated by the Pasadena Police Department. So they did their investigation, probably would have interviewed Ms. Hill, may have attempted to interview Trevor Bauer. I'm not certain whether or not he actually gave a statement to the police. Whenever I'm advising someone, I generally tell people not to give statements to the police. Definitely stand upon those Fifth Amendment rights to remain silent. You should definitely, at a minimum, consult with the defense attorney before you make the decision to talk to the police. And so eventually the Pasadena Police Department turned their file over to the district attorney, which is a customary process, right? So they're going to do their investigation. They're going to talk to any witnesses. If there were neighboring witnesses who might have heard, screaming or yelling, if you have somebody punching somebody in the face, that's probably going to be something that's going to, ignite a, screaming or commotion that might catch the neighbor's attention. So they're going to go around knocking on different doors, seeing, hey, did you hear or see anything strange? They're going to take photos. They're going to shoot video. They're going to collect all the evidence that they can. And then they're going to turn that over to the district attorney. attorney's office. There's going to be an assigned district attorney who's going to review the case and then make a decision as to whether there's anything that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt, right? So the police, generally speaking, in their report, they're going to put a recommendation. So they'll say, hey, after reviewing, all of the evidence, I recommend that, the following charges be filed. And then they'll list out the specific penal code sections that they are recommended that the DA file. But in this case, after the DA reviewed the case, they decided that they could not prove any particular charge beyond a reasonable doubt. And so they declined to file charges against him. So when someone actually, applies for a restraining order, the other party has an opportunity to respond, right? So you definitely have an opportunity to respond in your papers. And then when there's an actual hearing, if the judge sets a hearing, then you'll have the opportunity to testify on your behalf as well. And what Bauer had said in one of his court filings was that, hey, the pictures just did not reflect what she looked like after she left my place. This is a serious allegation, her saying that he punched her in the face and scarred her face up. And, I remember hearing about this story when it came out and just kind of being blown away by the shock of the allegations that you have this MLB star who, decided that he was going to punch this girl in the face. I mean, we're talking about a big baseball player and, a relatively small, female ends up getting punched in the face. But this goes to show the importance of not jumping to conclusions, not judging a situation and really waiting for the whole process to play out before we jumped into conclusions as to what ultimately happened. But he also basically said in a video that, hey, I never assaulted her in any way at any time. And he was very adamant about that. When it comes to allegations like this, and it can be, just domestic violence, but when we're talking about sexual assault, there are many ways that this can affect a person's life and reputation. But one of those ways is at the workplace. And, a person can, if they have a morality clause in their contract at work, or even just the company that they work for catching wind that the person is being charged with sexual assault or under investigation for sexual assault, that can be very detrimental to that person's career. And this is what we had here. I mean, Trevor Bauer was suspended for 2 years, and this has been the longest suspension under the MLB's sexual assault and domestic violence policy. From his perspective, he, wholeheartedly denies having violated the league's policy. And so he tweeted, in the strongest possible terms, I deny committing any violation of the league's domestic violence and sexual assault policy. He said, I'm appealing this action and I expect to prevail. And so Trevor Bauer actually filed a defamation lawsuit against Lindsey Hill. So now we're getting those, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard vibes. And so the elements of defamation are that someone made a false statement about you. That statement was made to a third party. The person who made the statement did so negligently, recklessly, or intentionally, and then as a result of that statement, your reputation was damaged. When we're talking about defamation, you have two forms. Libel is written, so whether that's like in a newspaper or an article or something like that, or slander is verbal, so you actually speaking the words. And so Bauer actually sued the woman, saying that, she set him up, she filed a false report with the police, she conducted a malicious campaign against him that basically included providing altered and filtered photographs of alleged injuries to the court and the media, leading him to lose revenue and opportunities for revenue provided by his contracts and prospective contracts with sponsors and others. And so this is what we're talking about when you are accused of something like this, sponsors. So this is a guy who's a major league baseball pitcher, and these guys get endorsement deals left and right. We might be talking about, tens of thousands of dollars up to hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions when we see these major sponsors pull back because they don't want to have their name associated with this brand, this entity that is this player, because these guys, at this level, they're not just individuals, they're now, brands. And so, this guy already lost out on his contract. So he was actually supposed to be paid $32 million. this year. He was supposed to make $32 million this year and $32 million next year. But the problem is MLB players do not get paid while they're suspended. So that is $64 million he's missing out on just on his MLB salary alone, in addition to endorsements and other business deals that might have, fallen by the wayside as a result of these allegations. The reality is most people, you and I, we don't make anything near $32 million a year. We don't play Major League Baseball. What if you make $42,000 a year and you really need that job? You have a job that you've been working at for 10 or 15 years. You really love this job. And now because somebody has filed false allegations against you, now you stand at risk of losing everything. You might have a kid that you're supporting, a wife that you're supporting, or whatever the situation is. Now you stand to lose the way that you make money because someone made a false allegation against you. And again, I don't know one way or the other whether it's false or not. I know that he's saying that they're false. And, as we talk about this video that's coming up, it really is going to raise some doubt. But nonetheless, she had actually gone to some sort of, clinic or medical center and provided medical records. The diagnosis was basically assault by manual strangulation and an acute head injury. And this was following the alleged sexual encounter with Bauer. His legal team, so his lawyers are basically contesting this evaluation, contesting the accuracy. And this is where it becomes so important to have a legal team who can pick these things apart. Because again, when you have a situation where, someone is producing a photo with, black eyes and busted lips, we really don't know when that photo was taken, who took it, and under what circumstances. That could be a photo from when an ex-boyfriend beat her up, or one of her, best friends, a girlfriend could have beat her up. It could be from anywhere, but all she had to do was post these photos and attach his name to it, and now it becomes a whole thing. And let me just be clear, if she is not making this up, if this is real and Trevor Bauer did these things without her consent, then, that is absolutely repugnant. And I certainly don't support or condone a man hitting a female. But to the extent this might be made up and she's just doing this as a money grab, that's equally disgusting. The fact that you can take this information and cause a man to lose millions of dollars, lose their contract, not be able to participate in their career, their profession, the thing that they love the most, it's just absolutely horrible. One of the things, again, that Trevor Bauer came out and said is that, hey, she did not look like this picture, that depicts her and with all these bruises and cuts and everything. She didn't look like that after she left my house. And so now, again, this video, and this is the subject of this video here, this video we're talking about has come out and it's strong evidence in Trevor Bauer's favor. It's only 9 seconds long and there's no audio attached to it, but basically it's a selfie video that, starts, it pans to Trevor Bauer, who, looks very calm and peaceful in his sleep. He's got the whole mask going on. Man, I might need to look into one of those things because he looks peaceful, but the video eventually pans over to Ms. Hill. She's got a little smirk on her face. There's no marks on her face, definitely no apparent injuries, nothing even close to what is being reported as happening. And so this video just emerges. And if this video is a depiction of how she looked on the date in question, then obviously that just blows up this whole case and exposes her as a liar. It can just be insanely frustrating. As a criminal defense attorney, I deal with people facing criminal charges every day of the week. And the reality is some of them are lies, and people have all kinds of motives for making false allegations, ranging from, just doing it out of spite, doing it to get a leg up in a custody battle, to a money grab, which is what they're accusing this young lady of doing here. This is something, 2 years off from playing baseball, I imagine that's going to definitely affect his stock in terms of his ability. You can't just take a break for 2 years and not be affected on some level, in addition to missing out on 2 years of salary and whatever endorsements And, you know, not only that, but just his reputation. Something like this will end up staying with him forever. You know, the next time, if he's able to get back into the league and he gets on the mound, the commentators are going to be bringing it up. And even if he ends up getting out of this, and again, the district attorney reviewed this case and concluded that no charges would be filed against him. So his name was cleared there, but you can see how it can still continue to affect your life. So, you know, this is going to be an interesting thing to see how it ultimately plays out. We'll keep you posted. If you got something out of this, please be sure to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you never miss a new video when it drops. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.